Laura Shin for a while. Listen to her podcast occasionally. She has some good guests, but the episode with Kyle Davies was the first time I listened to her in a while, and it was incredible. She grilled that guy to the
dude.
ground.
Her cold intro was so brutal, dude. And I gotta say, people did push back on her, and I would too, because it's like, what do you? I mean, I guess at the end of the day, she said, "Well, he asked to come on the show. I didn't invite him." But that doesn't. I mean, from an interview perspective, it was a little bit. I don't know. I thought it was a little bit of weak sauce on her part to, like, you know, the cold open was like, you're for yourself. It was like, it was so brutal, man. But I don't know what kind of slippery maybe she is doing her villain arc thing here, but to think, I mean, I understand it from one perspective. One perspective is you're going to get a lot of eyeballs, you know, and that's like valuable. I'm not saying that's not valuable, but then so Paul, when she was like, I think she realized, like, holy shit, I understand. Maybe I shouldn't have this dude on the space, so they canceled it. You're going to get a lot of eyeballs. And then no, Paulie, you know, and that's has like valuable going on right now. Not saying that's not which valuable. Is like, but then Laura Shin's a whore. So Paul, when she was like, I think she
no
realized,
way,
like, yeah, and maybe I shouldn't have this dude on the space, like, so they canceled it. This guy now, and then no, Paulie, like, literally has a space like, going on right now. Which, you know, is like,
I mean, that is insane. She's like such a sweet woman. She's like so no way. Yeah, I think she has some serious health issues as well. Like, I mean, she is just not in the realm of being talked to like that at all. That is like incredible. I mean, that is insane. She is like such a sweet woman. She is like so kind. I think she has some serious health issues as well.
She's got the eyeballs.
I mean, she is just not in the realm of being talked to like that at all. That is like for whatever that's worth. That guy is out of his mind. Guys, by the way, if you want to come up and honestly, talk, man, we're going to talk ordinals, doginals today, inscriptions everywhere. But, maybe some inscriptions as well with MFers. I mean, her show probably has more views. Definitely
what did I just walk into?
For whatever that's worth.
Conversation is
guys, by the way, if you want to come up and talk, you missed it. Talk ordinals, doginals today, inscriptions everywhere. Maybe some inscriptions as well with MFers. So yeah, let's definitely dive into it.
And what did I just walk into? What conversation is going on?
Whoever she
you missed a good intro today.
She reached out like, who should I have on? And hey, you can't sleep whatever. And I guess they booked Paulie. Shit shows. And then,
I mean, he is the meme overlord.
For like a meme. I want to talk to somebody about meme. But then once whoever she had realized what they were getting into, and so she reached out like, who should I have on? So he's now literally on a space right now. Paulie. And the title of the space is,
I mean, he is a meme overlord. I'm not gonna lie that.
I mean, just insanity to be going that route with Laura Shin.
Crazy, such bad. So he's now literally on a space. But let's get into it. Let's start with doginals. The title of this, I guess, is Laura Shin. You know, I know the
I mean, just insanity.
The Doogies are doing like a drop on doginals. Such bad.
Oh my goodness, how crazy!
To a couple guys in the community. But let's get into it. Let's start with doginals, because this is, I guess, who in the doginal space wants to lead us off and tell us. The Doogies are doing like a drop on doginals.
Yo, I don't know what's going on over there. I'm just pulling
up. Meme tree, you want to go into it, man?
Yeah, I'm pulling up into the
doginal space wants to lead us off.
Now he's talking.
What the hell's going on? Oh shit, I don't know.
I can hear him.
Yo, I don't know what's going on over there.
The meme tree, you want to go into it, man?
Yeah, dog. I'm pulling up.
Keep going. I think it's Adam might be right.
Can't hear you,
because I can hear you. If Chris can
hear
you. No,
he's talking.
Adam.
Oh shit,
Roger.
I can hear
good logic.
Yeah,
we can go back. We can leave. We can come back. What you think is the best vibe? And just seeing that.
No, keep going. I think it's Adam might be rugging, because I can hear you. If Chris can hear you, then it might be Adam.
And what I was talking to, like Malo Man the other day, is like trickle down devonomics have occurred, where people have taken the ordinal inscription concept and applied it to Doge, but haven't really like fleshed out I was talking to fully, and it's still kind of the other day getting built and exploring itself and finding its people have taken its purpose for going forward, I guess, and applied it to Doge. So I like haven't really like the Doge client and then fully, and it's still kind of Dogecoin getting built. There's like two forks I could find exploring itself and finding Casey's org client. Its purpose. Neither of them really worked, I guess. But like Doge Labs had one, but you needed like the Doge client, some subsidiaries that I didn't really understand, and then forks. There's like two forks I could find of like Casey's org client didn't work, and I reached out to some really work in the space. Like Doge Labs had one. Doge needed ordinals since some subsidiaries that I didn't really understand, and they basically said, "Yeah, no, it's still broken." So Dogecoin, we need some trickle down Devonomics. Didn't work. Still, I reached out to some people in the space. I'm really bullish on the Doge ordinal space. Ordinal since this beginning of it, and they basically said,
the Dogenal ecosystem. I tweeted this yesterday, and it seems like got a lot of attention. It's really one or two kind of
Doge ordinal space.
I guess infrastructure plays or announcements from really exploding again.
Yeah,
there's the Dogenal ecosystem. 3 or 4 major things that are literally on the horizon. It's really one or two marketplace. Which I guess infrastructure plays or the OKX team has already announced that's what they're working on again. It took them a little bit longer to 3 or 4 major implement their Atomicals marketplace, which I think the Emblem team has learned that you never put a time or date on the OKX team has already announced that's what they're working on development. It took them a little bit longer to implement their Atomicals marketplace. So you have the OKX Dogenals marketplace, right? The Emblem team has learned that Magic Eden has they haven't officially announced it, but there's a lot of people from the team have said they're looking into Dogenal's marketplace. One thing that I think a lot of people haven't discussed in a while is actually track. I know last time I talked with the track team and Benny, and I think this was in December. They said it was going to take a few months for them to really set up their Dogenal's kind of section or compartment of their team. But I think once Trax comes in and indexes the first Dogenals project, whatever that is, again, this is just speculation, that I think that could reignite a lot of interest. And then, just Dogecoin in general, right? Dogecoin futures goes live on Coinbase April 1st alongside Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash, right? So that's obviously a lot. Your few exchange Doji listings away from probably a lot of interest coming back and funneling into the ecosystem. Obviously, you're a long tweet away, and a few people in the comments that I had posted yesterday. I was talking with this team called Robo AI, who's building a Dogenals Dex screener. They showed me some previews. It actually looks pretty good comparative to what exists out on the market. And then you have I don't even know what else there is. There's Dunes. I think Doge Labs this morning, somebody from their team announced that they were building a Dunes etching service. So basically,
we saw that. We're aware of Dunes.
Yeah. Also, too, I mean, Jimmy, thanks for coming on stage. He's actually been one of my favorite people to follow recently in terms of just Dogenal's kind of updates. Am I missing anything, man? I mean, you have a little bit more of a finger on the pulse comparative to what I'm saying here. You there, Jimmy? You might be on mute.
Yes. Hello. Do you hear me?
Yep.
Do you hear me? Yes. Yes, I think you told almost everything. And did you spoke about WooFi Hub or Web Wallet?
Yeah, so I guess I could go into that. So I guess one that I'm actually quite interested in the kind of WooFi swap ecosystem is this thing called Leica. I don't even know how to pronounce that. It's the Dogecoin layer 2 that we had discussed on this show for a few weeks now. I'm starting to get a little bit of traction, and from what I'm seeing, it looks like they're literally going to play the same exact playbook that Blast is playing, which is the same exact playbook that Merlin Chain is playing, which is going to be the same playbook that Leica is playing as well, where the announcement was that once this goes live for they're calling it the Sputnik program, you'll be able to stake Doji, Debit, WooFi, Hub, WIWW, and Mini Doges, which is the top collection. So I guess it depends on if you're bullish on these ecosystems. I mean, if you look at Blast, it's had moderate traction so far since launch. Merlin Chain has had pretty large adoption. If you want to follow that playbook, I know we talk about that a lot. Dogenals is really just running the same exact playbook that Bitcoin Ordinals is doing. I think there's a lot of potential here. I'm definitely going to play it, man. Chris, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, I know you mentioned the last Inscription Show last Thursday that you were beginning to, rightfully so, pivot out of Solana meme coin space and start looking into all of these UTXO chains in their Inscription ecosystem, which then we saw Coinbase basically say, yeah, we're moving to, add futures for all these UTXO ecosystems. Is there anything that's caught your attention on Doge or between all of those ecosystems?
So I'm becoming a Doger at the moment. I started out as a no Doger years ago. Jake began his crypto career as a Doger. Myself, I was not a Dogecoin maxi. I was not that big of a fan. I thought it was an industry we were trying to build really serious things in, and that it was kind of distractions. So over the years, definitely have kind of evolved my thinking. A lot of it started when Ethereum moved from proof of work to proof of stake. And so, their fees got out of control on Ethereum side. And then I started to look into the Solana trade for a better UI and a cleaner kind of experience with cheaper transactions. So the Solana ecosystem really took over most of my attention for the last 2 years. Huge trade, kind of nailed a ton of the infrastructure plays there, was massive, but now it's kind of getting overdone. Meme coins are flying all over Solana. The entire ecosystem is just literally in complete euphoria. So it was time to look for a rotation trade, and Doge kind of fills the role of what Solana did to Ethereum in terms of it being proof of work, cheaper, faster transactions, more fun, kind of organic community. And so kind of really began looking at it, saw Doge as, minus 75% from all-time highs. Everything else is all-time high pretty much. You still have the Elon card. You have all of the infrastructure that's being built. It literally, I mean, this stuff is ridiculous. Like the layer 2s on Doge, on the brink, they were talking that someone pitched them DeFi on Doge, and everybody literally laughs, genuinely laughs. But that's what makes the ecosystem so viral, is that it's such a meme that it's actually going to become a reality. And so on the timeline yesterday, I responded to Jake that nobody's even talking about the Dogecoin ETF. What's funny is that, a lot of people don't even really believe that the Ethereum ETF would get passed this year, but most people are just playing the trade based on the rumor. So if that rumor trade works for Ethereum, I don't see why it wouldn't work for a proof of work chain that has thousands of organic users, that probably has a fairer launch than Ethereum. I think that that narrative can get pretty strong going into the end of the year, especially when Doge is at all-time high. Things can get pretty noisy. So I think it has a ton of stuff going for it.
Rumor.
Go ahead.
When Bell's ETF rumor.
Well, that's going to come after Doge for sure.
Could you imagine?
Step by step here, boys. Step by step. But in general, I just think that there's a lot of catalysts. I think it's, really far off all-time highs. The community, the infrastructure investment, and the general ecosystem development is definitely the highest it's ever been. And I think that that's a huge catalyst going forward.
So as we were talking, I don't know if they're listening to our show or not, but the Dogecoin layer 2, again, I don't know how to pronounce this. Is it Lycia, whatever it is? I'm gonna pin it here to the top. They actually just released some of their design for this layer 2. They said they have 3 goals to elevate, making Doge assets programmable. What is going on here? Is that Damien? I'm gonna have to. Who is that? I can't background noise. Does anyone else hear that? Okay.
Yeah,
I was tripping. Okay, I was tripping for a second. It says making Doge assets programmable, reducing Doge congestion fees and latency, and increasing liquidity. They're bridging the essentials, and it looks like it's literally the same exact Merlin chain playbook. I mean, it says here, smart contracts, EVM compatible, account abstraction. That's literally all 3 of those dApps. DeFi gaming, DAO, metaverse, new standards, DRC 404. And then it says the non-custodial bridge and reducing congestion and using Doge assets. It's literally the same exact playbook. So
I think that that's a strong catalyst as well, is that we already have the playbook. Mm-hmm. That's why Ordinal is launching on Bitcoin, and having Dogenals as a secondary, more accessible ecosystem is extremely bullish, because you know how to navigate it. When I was hitting most of the biggest Solana plays for the past year and a half, it was really easy to navigate because they just did every single thing that Ethereum did, launching a new DEX, launching liquidity providers, launching, borrow lend systems, financial infrastructure. And then now you can see it play out in ordinals first as, the leading ecosystem. And then whoever said trickle down devonomics, you could have trickle down Doge economics, where it's going to just trickle down into their ecosystem as well. It's literally the same playbook over and over. So it makes it easy to follow.
Yeah, I think Dogecoin is Litecoin and Dogecoin are really the chains for out of the closet Bitcoin maxis. Once they finally break that maxi mold, then they finally figure out another UTXO chain that satisfies their decentralization, and they end up on Litecoin and Doge. Adam,
it is real comedy. Like a Doge layer 2 is genuinely funny. Like,
dude, it doesn't even make sense. I thought Doge didn't need it, right? But at the end of the day, you start seeing, like, even with Solana, where Solana's obviously now, when it's been pushed to its real kind of like technical max, it starts failing. I mean, if you were in meme coins over the last week on Solana and you didn't have some failed transactions, you probably weren't really, either you were knew what you were doing, or you just weren't a regular person, because I had a shit ton of failed transactions, right? And so and certainly from a technical perspective, doing things was for the devs was really hard on Solana. So I think there's a real opportunity for the Dogecoin ecosystem. Personally, I feel like it's too early for these L2s. I mean, it even still feels too early for like Base. I mean, even Base this week when they were pushing, I mean, you saw Xcopy releasing on Base. I'm sure that was a paid kind of deal. It just feels forced to me. Like, I don't know. I still feel like people want to work on the native L1, but I don't know what your guys' feel is on that.
To me, I think this bull market is going to be defined by hyper gamification. I mean, last night I spent a few hours and I was just like really running through the Blast ecosystem after waiting a few weeks because it was just pure chaos the first 2 weeks. And man, every single one of these dApps that are on Blast are just gamified points just to the absolute max, to the degree where you don't even understand what's really going on. You're just like, every little button's a dopamine hit because there's more points, right? Everything is gambling and casino-fi. And honestly, like, it's a great way to keep people entertained while you're building your product. Is just give them these, these off-chain points that lead to speculative kind of, thought of how much will you get? Who really knows? I'm actually going to spend a lot more time in Blast. And I've been playing Merlin for a little while. And a bunch of these two ecosystems have kind of done something similar. They are differing in terms of like how they go about their plays. Like, for example, Blast, they're rewarding developers with 50% of the Blast airdrop. So 50% of the Blast airdrop goes to the development teams, and then 50% goes to retail, who's basically participating in these ecosystems. And then their own apps themselves are the ones that are doing tokens and points as well. So you have like multiple layers of points. Whereas on Merlin, they're basically just getting you to stake assets, and then they're creating basically an LST against it. So like a derivative token. So then you could play and trade on their ecosystem that's scaling. And then they're building a whole ecosystem around it. Like Merlin Swap's doing an airdrop, and Merlin Starter's doing an airdrop, and this person's doing an airdrop. So they're similar to a degree, but differing. So I'd be interested to see what happens with this new layer 2 and how they're going to go about it on Dogecoin. I have here pulled up on the live stream the DRC20 kind of leaderboard. DBIT is still dominating in 24-hour volume, barely just edging Doji. Doji just recently surpassed 10,000 holders. And if I remember correctly, I think Wordy was around like 14 or 15,000 holders before it really took off its next leg. I think a lot of that had to do with like the listings on some of these other exchanges. So one thing I've noticed, and I've kind of pointed this out in my tweets with the Dogenol ecosystem, is it's starting to move past the meme DRC20 phase. I mean, you do have the meme coins, FIWB and Doji and Oink are kind of like really the, I guess, top meme coins. But outside, and DBIT is like number 4, or DBIT, or those would be like the top 4. But outside of that, you're really starting to see, people start allocating towards like these infrastructure projects, like Woofy as a DEX, WIWW as a wallet, Hub as this like indexing kind of service. You have there was like a few other ones. I think DSEX is like a club, and a handful of others. So I mean, to me, this is something that I'd be watching. It still needs, again, right, Adam, it still is a little early. There isn't any new projects coming, but again, money attracts all. If people start seeing points and really kick into that, I think the layer 2 is probably the right narrative. As long as these 3 projects, Woofy, WIWW, and like Don't Rug Us, right? And it's all just not a Fugazi, which is always possible. It's always possible.
It's very possible.
It's very possible.
The one thing I was thinking about the other day was, and I think it's an advantage that, I mean, I guess we'll have to see, but it seems like the advantage for Runes is that it's going to facilitate kind of easy transactions, buying, selling in wallets. I think that is that's a big deal. We've bumped up against it, even with the Dogeal tokens, anything BRC20s, where there's like you have to do inscriptions transactions, and those any sort of friction, I think, is a real negative. And I'm not sure, during this bull cycle, I'm not sure retail's going to put up with that. I think, Solana, the big advantage, super easy, Phantom wallet, easy peasy, very intuitive, works seamless. You can swap right in the wallet. I think retail's going to demand that. I may be wrong, but it just feels like that's going to have to happen. And that in that way, I think Runes has a big advantage over BRC20. That's my current thesis.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about our good friend and Mr. Magic Man, Leonidas, and the runestone that is just absolutely, just coalescing everyone's mentality on Bitcoin and just really taking over. I mean, it's I think it was number 4 or it's number 5 in market cap already in terms of every single NFT collection across all chains, although nobody ever indexes Rare Pepe, which is generally in the top 5. So at some point, people will really figure that out. Because I think the Rare Pepe market cap is around 400 million or so, which would put it in the ahead of Runestone. But I guess that's a conversation for another day. I mean, this guy's putting on a clinic, man. Adam, we've been hanging out with Leo. We used to host a show with him back in 2021, 2022. I noticed that he's really, clicked on, and I notice when he does this every so often, he really turns on the marketing meter or the marketing hype and really starts leaning into it. Did you think Runestone would be as big as it's done already with 866 Bitcoin in volume, which I think is which is around 10 million, or which is around $50 million, I think.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think the timing was perfect. The narrative was phenomenal. The narrative of, basically a free airdrop, community run project. People love that. It hits. The timing was just like, you can't pay for that kind of timing, right? It happened right same day as Book of Memes. And so the narrative, it's interesting because it's basically an NFT that you're going to then get an airdrop of a meme coin later.
They're bundle packs.
Yeah, it's just an amazing. He hit it right. There's so much good stuff. Obviously, he did an incredible job of communicating the marketing and the vision for it. And I know people who bought hundreds of them in anticipation of when this actually launches on Runes. And it's very, very possible that the meme coin narrative kind of moves from Solana to Bitcoin. I mean, that's completely possible after the halving. And if that happens, I actually anticipate it happening. It is going to be just incredible. And so those people who got airdropped that Runestone, big winners. And we'll see how it goes. I mean, certainly nothing's guaranteed. That's what we see again and again, and it could turn into a shit show. And Casey could fumble the Runes launch. Like, that happens. It could be a disaster. Who knows? But if not, there's certainly all this liquidity which is going to move markets over there. It's going to be incredible to watch.
Yeah, there's a few concerning things, but also once you start doing the moon math, you're like, holy shit, this could be insane. I mean, Leo posted the leaderboard of meme coins, although I think it is missing a few. It would put Runestone right now in the top 15 somewhere. I think this chart is missing.
What did it put it as the market cap right now for Runestone?
It's like approaching 400 mil. It's been going between 380 and 400 mil over the last 2 days, kind of consolidating around there. And number 10,
but you think that's actually like cheap when you really think about it. When you think about bumping it up against, Pepe or what Dogecoin did last cycle, what Doge did last cycle, it could be 20 billion, 40 billion, who knows, right?
Yeah, because there's just so much capital. I was listening to the Ordinal show yesterday, and Udi has this meme, which is still kind of true, about the ancient Bitcoin whales, or these people who just have an astronomical amount of Bitcoin that they've been sitting on for a long time. And once these people start allocating, I think this is when you really see it do some pretty wild things. That moment still has not happened yet. I mean, I know Node Monkeys is pumped and stuff, but what the ETH NFT traders have comparative to what people who've been sitting on Bitcoin since 2012, 2013 for, it's just like it'll do numbers that you've probably never seen before. That's if it can happen, right? That's if you can get these old wallets to start allocating. But on this chart here, Pepe is at about $3 billion. So you're saying, if for it to equal Pepe, that's about a 10x from here, which would put a Runestone at $30,000, which just sounds insane, right? Like that, it sounds like, but it doesn't sound insane being on Bitcoin. I mean, Ordi is $1.5 billion. I think the important thing to understand here, first, as a large distributed base, I do think there's actually a lot more lost Runestones and people actually are led to believe, because I keep seeing the listings on here where the listings generally hover around like 1,000 to like 1,500. And I think it's people trying to find these old wallets to see if they were allocated some of these. But I think once the Runestone's coin is distributed, I would give it maybe 2 or 3 months, and I think you'll have a really firm understanding then of what the actual or true supply is at the end of the day. But how high can that go? I mean, again, right? Casey came out, this is yesterday, and said, for everyone working on Runestones, please keep in mind having is the deadline for us to produce a finalized working implementation. There's no guarantee that it's going to be stable, right? So, I mean, there's probably going to be 5 to 10 Rune dexes that pop up. I know Ordinal's Wallet is working on one. You have RuneX, there's Rune Alpha. I know 3 or 4 Rune. I think Magic Eden might have said they were working on it as well. So there's going to be a lot of competition for a finite amount of resources. Although Runestone, I believe, is not going to be airdropped. The tokens won't be airdropped for a few weeks until after it was created. So I think what most people are doing is they're just going to ape into these 10 runes that Casey's pre-creating, which he's said are going to be themed, which was kind of interesting and makes sense, because this is what Raph told us at Ord Denver, is that Runes is an entertainment company, which I guess is just like what a casino is. So they're really, really, really kind of leaning into that, which is pretty interesting.
You think about that, it's like there is going to be kind of this dispersion of interest, right? If you're launching 10 tokens, obviously people are going to want to do the first one, but then Casey, I think, had said, no, they're all going to be at the same time. And so, is that nearly as powerful a narrative when you're going to have 10 of them, and then Runestones are going to drop, maybe a few weeks later? There's a lot that could go wrong in there that, crushes that $30,000 per Runestone kind of thesis, right? So there's definitely a lot of risk there. It's not like there's no risk, right? There's significant risk that shit could go badly, for sure. I personally don't think it will, but been wrong definitely before.
Yeah, you totally faded Doginals, bro. You totally faded
Doginals, Ordinals, everything. Runestone, you name it, man. We're fading everything today. But Bro, this has been an amazing week for fading, bro. It's been this is one of those magic weeks, man.
Yeah, I mean, you have RSIC too, which was kind of started the whole it didn't start the pre-runes meta, but did in terms of like the allocations and the IOUs. RuneX was really the first one to the scene. This project too is kind of slept on. I mean, there's only a month left, I guess, to allocate your IOUs for the RSIC. I know Rocktoshi's got a bunch of money. I could see him probably trying to figure out to try to get one of these early kind of runes to etch onto it and to deploy his tokens. It sounds like he's pretty, he's pretty interested in getting some of those first, although he came out and said that he was the first, and Casey was like, yeah, no, that's not true. So that's also a project not to sleep on. But again, most of those tokens have already been pre-allocated. So you really, if you buy one now, it's really only have, about a month left there. So the pre-runs meta, it'll be fun. Again, though, if the protocol's shaky, I think you just see a massive implosion and people just come back to it 4 or 5 months later. So who knows? But in other Bitcoin news, we had a conversation with Adam from Counterparty yesterday. Adam, what was your takeaway from that conversation? Are you feeling confident in the direction of where Counterparty is going?
Yeah. I mean, how can you not? That dude is he just has his head on straight, right? I mean, you just talk about, we got into it a little bit on the show. I'll pin it up top in a minute, but that he's really dealing with a community of basically OGs that hold, XCP assets, XCP. And there's a big push by them to incorporate everything the Counterparty is with XCP, right? And then there's kind of new people who are like, screw XCP, we don't even need it. Let's just be fully Bitcoin native, have everything run on Bitcoin, and then we compete directly with ordinals. And he's trying to, he's playing that middle ground between people. And I think doing a very, very good job, because it's not easy to do that. And then certainly he's, top shelf dev and team over there. And I mean, I just hear from, we heard it yesterday from people in the space like Joe, but just offline, other people have said like, oh, this is amazing. This is like stuff that people in the community were like praying for a year ago, right? And so, you got to feel really bullish about, how Counterparty's going, and the future of Counterparty looks really bright. But I'll pin it up top so you guys can listen later.
I actually did have a few people reach out afterwards, and they expressed some discontent with his vision. And the whole debate from two people who had messaged me was surrounding the fees. It seems like a lot of people want to get rid of XCP, and they seem pretty stagnant on it. Somebody that I was messaging with last night said they were going to write a thread on it. Actually, two people. And they think that the reason why Adam has returned is because he has insane XCP bags. And this is why this is the reason why he is very firm on using XCP as the fee mechanism across the protocol and won't drop it because of the XCP bags. What do you think of that?
That's certainly possible, right? And I mean, look, if it was up to me, I mean, I think a lot of us in this space are probably on the side of do away with XCP completely, right? But at the end of the day, a portion of your community, is heavily involved and invested in that token. And so to completely discount it or do away, I think would be, it would just be taking part of your community and basically running them to zero in what they hold. And I don't know if that's the best strategy. I mean, if it was up to me, I probably would, but that doesn't mean, like I said, he's juggling between people, but it's possible he does have a big bag. I mean, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me that XCP is like this, going to be used as like a gas token in an environment that XCP can't reward, people who are maintaining the protocol or the devs or anything like that. And we talked to him about it, and his response was, basically, we're going to try to make it invisible, basically, to the end user. And I think that's a medium ground. That's like a happy medium. If he could make it invisible, where you're transacting in BTC and you don't realize you're using XCP, I think that's an acceptable compromise. And I think that's what he expressed, yesterday. Whether they can pull that off or not, still has to be seen. But I do get the side that's just like, drop it. I totally, we've had that conversation. From a perspective of our protocol has to compete now with multiple protocols across Web3. If you're using XCP, you're at a significant disadvantage, right? So, these guys work cut out for him. That's for darn sure.
We've gone through this situation, and we're kind of still going through the situation from the Emblem Vault side, right? The Emblem team has a treasury right before we joined the team, right? There's a treasury that they own a few percentage of the supply, which could equal millions of dollars. But when we joined, right, you had to have this token called CoVault to mint a vault. And ultimately it became the scaling issue where it's like, okay, users don't want to have to go acquire this other token to use the platform. They just want to use whatever is the native asset, right? They want to use Bitcoin it would be in this case, or they want to use Ethereum in the Vault case. But it's like, but we have these big bags of these tokens. And if we, disintermediate it, then, that's a massive loss of revenue or potential there. But if you do that, right, then you increase the scaling opportunity. And looking back at it now, right, for us, we've looked at it and we're like, of course, this is the only way to move forward, is to temporarily disintermediate CoVault so that we can build a good product, because you realize that the product does not exist without users. And if users are telling you they don't want this token, then, right, you got to listen to them, no matter how bad the bag bias is, because ultimately, right, it all goes to zero regardless if you have no users.
I think that was a good decision. And circling back to Emblem, do you guys support Doginals right now? Because, like, for instance, like, we're minting on DRC20, but that website is really bad, right? And also, like, I have a ton of doogies that I would maybe want to pair on ETH. So, like, maybe I would want to vault them with Emblem and then go store them in my ETH wallet. Do you guys support Doginals yet, or no?
We're still waiting on an API for somebody to provide for us. Can
you trickle down Devonomics, huh?
Trickle down Devonomics.
Can you guys get your shit together over there? What the fuck?
I reached out. I tried to reach out to Doggy Market. They said that they would provide us one when they were ready. I reached out to Doge Labs, and they said that they're still working on the indexer. This was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, so it could change, but they were still working on redoing the indexer with OKX. And once that was done and the OKX marketplace was up, that means that the API was ready. The OKX marketplace isn't live, so apparently it's not ready yet. And Hub, I believe it might be an option. I'll need to look into Hub. I know they've released some tools that I haven't really dove into yet, but we want to support it. We're ready, and we're building a bunch of things to, kind of have this frictionless ecosystem. We're actually building it into a way where you can deploy Emblem on anything, right? So eventually you could have Emblem on Doginals or on Dogecoin if you want. Working towards
honestly, because I don't see a good launch pad, right? Maybe I'm wrong, but the two markets that I'm understanding is like DRC20 and Doge market, but like the Doggy market is not a launch pad and you can't really mint there. And then the other one, the web site UI UX is just, like you can try 20 times and you'll maybe be successful 3 times or something like that. And so I know you guys also did the mint on Bells, but straight to a vault on ETH. And I think there could be a lot of demand for that on Doge if people don't get together and like build a better launchpad.
Yeah, so we are actually in contact with somebody who is building a Doginals inscription service and wants to be the official partner with us for that specifically. So we are just waiting on them to build it. Because as of now, there aren't any independent Doginal inscription services, which is kind of wild to think about it. It's really, you're doing it on inside of the wallet of the Doge Labs, right? Or you're doing it on Doge Labs, or there might
it's because the ORD client's broken.
Yeah.
And there's the only way to mint is through this like Doginals JS file right now. It's like just there's this JavaScript file that allows you to mint, but you can't transfer. So it's like you can only mint using it. And then like, yeah, we just need some more time to have the devs come over and have some meme devonomics over here, you know?
Dude, for real. I mean, we're ready. Like, we love Doginals, and we want to as soon as possible. We just had launched Doge Party Collection, which actually just minted to this morning. So it is officially working. So you could vault your Doge Party assets on Ethereum now currently. But we want to support all the different ecosystems that exist. So hopefully that comes here pretty shortly. And one more thing, and then I'll call on Dogfather here is, right, OKX has said that they're working with Doge Labs to build this indexer. They're probably rebuilding it from scratch. There's a huge opportunity that lies there for OKX. I mean, if they look at what Unisat did with BRC20, where Unisat basically just commandeered the protocol and told, Domo kind of to sit aside and we're taking control of this, they kind of forced him into that position. They could essentially do the same thing here, where they're working with Doge Labs. They build this indexer. They're the ones that has, right? OKX has a large treasury, or at least it appears so. They could come in and rebuild the Doginals protocol the way that they want to. And if they're the leading marketplace, then they pretty much get to dictate where it goes, which obviously it could be a good or bad thing. But knowing OKX, right? Their OKX web wallet is quite incredible, right? And they're adding all these different features. Like, I feel like they would have a pretty firm understanding of what their users want, and also kind of some new features to it. But again, that's kind of what we're waiting on, and they've publicly said that's currently what they're working on. So who knows how long it could be, though. I mean, the Litecoin Ordinals community, it took I forget what his name is, Anthony, the guy who rebuilt the indexer. It took him 2 or 3 months to do that, and I know indexers can take months to do. So we could still be months away from that actually happening. What's up, Dogfather?
Keep an eye on it though, honestly, because once the devs unlock the ecosystem, you'll see a lot more activity in my mind.
Yeah, I think so as well. It's just about being patient. I mean, I think all of us agree here, Doginals are probably one of the top, ecosystem plays. It seems pretty inevitable, right? You have the futures, and then the ETF, and mainstream adoption, 5 million on-chain holders. Like, it completely makes sense to everybody. They just got to really, really fix it. What's up, Dogfather?
Hey, GM. Yeah, Doginals and the whole Dogecoin NFT market is ripe to moon. I mean, this is programmed. It's just so hard to build on Dogecoin. I mean, it's just like an ancient chain, no SegWit, no taproot. It will take a while. And just circling back to the XCP and counterparty discussion. I mean, I said it yesterday. I mean, I think one of the key success reasons for Bitcoin Ordinals is you don't need that, right? You don't need this. And I mean, most people never used a DEX with a token-to-token swap. I mean, I like the DEX on Counterparty. I think it's a very unique feature. But I mean, all the other ecosystems had trillions of sales without that feature. I mean, you just go into a native currency, into ETH or BTC, and then you swap in the next token. I don't think that this is like a token everyone is asking for. If this is the main reason why we have XCP, I would abolish it and just go mainstream. The people click on buy, and then the BTC goes, to the seller, and you have the NFT. That's what people want. They want to have a simple buy button, simple sell button. They don't want to have all these complicated tag that the counterparty wallet can do, but at the expense of XCP. So if you want to go mainstream out of the niche, it's pretty straightforward. That I mean, you don't want to have a second token. You guys did that with Koval, and I think if they really want to go mainstream, then without XCP.
Yeah, and you can always come back and introduce it later. And this is kind of what Emblem's going through now. Is now that we've kind of rebuilt our infrastructure, and Koval's kind of sat to the side for a little bit, and we've really rebuilt it. We could say, okay, now we can reintroduce this to a way that's native to the current, or the more modernized version of that. And that's exactly what we're doing now. You do take a temporary hit, but it has to be in the steps towards progress. So
if I could just butt in here just to give a perspective on kind of the opposite mindset. And it's not too opposite, because when we spoke with Adam yesterday, I said, is it going to be frictionless if you did use XCP? Is it going to be exactly what Dogfather references? Like, can I just click a button and it does the process for me and shows me how much Bitcoin it's going to cost, right? Same as Magic Eden wallet, same as Ordinal, same as all the other wallets, right? But just to give a historical perspective, there are some features on Counterparty that have always used XCP to function, and it was always kind of a big roadblock back in the day. But just to give kind of like users that have been there for a long time, I remember it was kind of brought up like, oh, should we charge XCP for dispensers? And everybody that was even pro XCP was like, hell no. Like when that was dropped by John Villar, it never used XCP. Why would you add that? But then on the opposite side, there's people that are like, yo, we should always burn XCP to make a named asset. And that is something I kind of stand behind, because XCP is originally burned Bitcoin anyway. And so to get rid of that kind of theory and idea, I think would be kind of detrimental to a lot of like previous developments. If it started with, like, for instance, the sweep function requires XCP to use, and that's actually a really good safeguard for if someone comes in and there's, you have to move, if something happens to your address or wallet and you need to sweep it, or you're going to do a sale with the sweep or something like that, it's pretty important to have that extra step. There are some things that are safeguards. And so anyway, the opposite side of like the XCP community not wanting to get rid of XCP, I think a lot has to do with the way it was historically used and what XCP is kind of theoretically backed on, which is burnt Bitcoin. I know there's like technical things from 10 years ago, but for me, I kind of just like, if it's going to be click and buy anyway, and it's going to use XCP, then what's the point of getting rid of it? So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good take. If you also kind of look at it objectively, there was a recent trend on Counterparty, which was stamps, right? And stamps and SRC20 got a lot of attraction and interest because there was no fee, right? You didn't have to burn or spend 0.5 XCP to create a stamp, and look at stamps took off. And that's the same reason why SRC20 left. It was right. They wanted to introduce all these kind of like spam filters, which is essentially what the fee is. And most of the spam filter is a good idea, but now that it's been 10 years since the protocol's created, I think every token's essentially been minted in terms of the valuable ones. It's a really tough decision at the end of the day. I mean, especially if you're sitting on tons of XCP, which can basically fund your development time or your development over years, essentially, right? It gives you that incentive to continue to participate. I mean, if he did, right, he came back, or the two of the co-founders came back, they have a big bag of XCP. That's their incentive to continue building. If you eliminate XCP, what's their incentive to continue building, right? Then they have to go beg for donations, which is like what a lot of these other protocol kind of founders have to do.
It's also, what's the value of my token when I burned XCP? What's the value of a rare Pepe because it burned XCP versus the new token that didn't burn XCP? Anyway, people disagree with me. In my opinion, if it's so frictionless that you didn't barely even notice XCP was used, and it's so easy to get in a future circumstance. Right now, it's like really difficult to get. You got to explain 10 things to someone to even get them to understand what it is, let alone buy XCP. If it's like super easy, like I can go on a Magic Eden type website and just click buy XCP, or I'm like create token, okay, it's going to automatically buy it for me. I think it's not a big deal. That's just my opinion, but I see the side of the bags thing, but it just like in my historical view, getting rid of XCP really gets rid of an entire theory that's like 10 years old. And and if I was the co-founder, I don't know if I would want to do that, and let alone if I had bags or not. There's another side of that doesn't include bags, in my opinion, because I don't have XCP bags. I bought rare Pepes. I don't really have a fucking an armor in this fight. If I have XCP, I just go buy more rare Pepes. It's just like that's Joe Looney mentioned it. It's just what we do. But anyway, so I don't really have a weapon in that fight. But I think there's other sides of it that's not just bags that are big philosophical arguments when it comes down to it.
Yeah, of course. It's that's what makes it a really tough decision. I mean, I have no idea how much XCP they hold. People just said it's a lot. I mean, they could take a portion of that and use that as kind of the jump start to pay for X amount of early transactions for the fee to cover it, while they build out this infrastructure. There's a lot of different ways about it. What do you think, Dogfather?
Yeah, I think it's pretty simple. You have some must-have features that you see on like Magic Eden and modern ordinance wallets, and then you have nerd features that they don't have, like sweeps and token-to-token swaps. And another question is, I mean, what are the trade-offs? Now you introduce XCP and more complexity for some nerd features 1% of the users ask for. And if you really want to grow the pie, then if you really want to go mainstream with counterparty assets, then it would be better to get rid of the nerd features, like also broadcasting, betting, and all of that. I mean, this is all stuff that you don't see in normal and regular wallets that are really mainstream, and then abolish XCP. So the question is, do you want to stay in the niche and have these nerd features and XCP, or do you want to go mainstream without XCP and, let's say, the more regular features? And I think combining both worlds is fucking complex. And I think we have seen Adam talking yesterday, Adam the Dev. I mean, I'm like, he's a superhero, right? But he's like so much right curve dev that they don't see the complexity. For them, this is natural. They build it. I mean, for them, this is like home. But for the regular user, they want to have a buy and sell button. That's simple. And it should be easy, and UX should be sleek and everything. And if you look at the counterparty tag, this is more like the right curve nerd niche stuff. I like it. I'm used to it, but I'm like more on the 1%. I'm not right curve. I'm left curve 1% nerd. So that's very simple. I think that's pretty obvious to everyone. Just speak to people outside of the counterparty circle.
If I could just respond to that, I think if you don't step on the toes of somebody looking at historical things that have happened before, aka like you just mentioned two features, betting and broadcast. In my opinion, betting was kind of really clunky and no one used it. And I might get behind, just throw it off, make something else that works. But broadcast is something that I say, no, don't take that away, because what if someone reads what JP Jansen did with Olga and say, hey, I want to do that too. I know it's not like conventional, or I know it's not like, what people do nowadays, but I want to do that. Or I want to do CC Satoshi like Cord and Holio did. And I want to put, so I don't want it to be a stamp. I want to do it this way. I just say that I would say to the new devs, don't step on the toes of the other features that still, like, I don't want a feature to just get like rock, paper, scissors betting. I don't really care. No one really used it. But other features like broadcast and other things, to me, is just like, don't take away something that's kind of beautiful. I don't care if you make a new wallet that's like perfect and it has a buy sell button and the UI is all sparkly and it has your favorite freaking anime characters in it. I don't give a fuck. But don't step on my old features that I like to use. And fuck, man, the DEX is fucking sick. Like, it's slept on. Like, we've lived in our own little world while everything else happened, and we were just fine. And I just say, don't step on that. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents of it. Go do your, connect it to Magic Eden, have the buy sell button. But when people want to get in the nitty gritty, really technical side, I want to make sure that it's still there and still usable. And, the ones that are used, right, that are still used to this day. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, PSBT support for counterparty will 100% be a game changer. I mean, you'll have likely a lot of these different marketplaces start adding it to where you could trade natively. How different will it be from ordinals and atomicals and some of these other ones? I think is still largely to be determined. But that is an exciting time. That'll be a breakout moment. But again, right, if there is some sort of fee associated with it, could turn people away. But also a big question to me as well would be, once PSBT support is added, will it encourage new projects to come and build on counterparty is a big question. Another one is, will users prefer trading counterparty natively when they've been trading, on Ethereum for the last 3 years, right? Human habit is really, really tough to break.
Are we rugging? Can anyone?
Ruggy McRuggin?
I hear you guys. Just muted everybody.
Did I get muted for a second?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Oh man, that sucks. So what part did you hear up to?
What did we? I think you cut out the whole thing, man. Go back.
Oh man. Okay.
You were going on a great rant, bro.
Yeah. So the thing with PSBTs on Counterparty, right? That's what everybody wants, right? You want to trade Rare Pepe on Magic Eden, or right? You want to trade Pepe Cash as a fungible token in some capacity. The big question here, there's 2 or 3 things to think about once that is introduced. One is, with PSBT support, will it encourage new project owners or builders to come and build on Counterparty because of this new accessibility? Is one, right? Number 2 is, can you break the habit of, the long-standing community who's been trading Counterparty assets on Ethereum for 3 to 4 years? Will you break that habit to where then they basically unvault everything and start trading it natively? Will users want to do that? And there was a third one that I had. With Counterparty, with PSBT support, will they trade more like fungible tokens, or will they trade more like NFTs? Because Counterparty is in this weird kind of protocol where the tokens could be both, depending on how you put an image and how you represent it and things like that. So it will open up a lot of creativities, and also, do marketplaces want to add that support as well? So there's a lot of kind of externalities comparative to it. And that's, I think, something that we'll largely have to see. What's up, Damien?
Hey, thanks, guys. Sorry, I was outside working on a fire and I had bad connection. I must have got disconnected. But Litecoin ordinals, I heard you guys mentioning that. I kind of missed a lot of it, but there's a project right now that's looking pretty badass that somebody's been working on. They got a Pepe market on Litecoin, and they forked the wallet, I believe, to the LightScribe wallet. And I mean, runes are coming to Litecoin, right? Litecoin's like at least 4 times better than Bitcoin. If you've ever used Bitcoin ordinals like directly and Litecoin ordinals directly, it's amazing. It's such an amazing experience compared. But and then you also got Mimblewimble. I mean, hey, who wants to be private, right? And they're putting PSBTs in the Mimblewimble. So all your base are belong to Litecoin. If you didn't hear that yet, they really are. I hate to keep telling you guys, but called this 11 years ago.
But the wallets suck and the marketplace sucks, bro. I mean, I'm with you.
Yeah,
I got a big Litecoin bag, but it's
how fast that changes? It changes overnight.
When's that fucking night gonna come, bro? Can the night?
It's meant for you to go all in on Bitcoin, get rugged on Bitcoin.
Bro, nobody's getting rugged on Bitcoin, bro. It's like, come on, man. Litecoin was the second fucking ordinal spot, and it's completely dropped the ball. Like, completely. It's completely dropped the ball, dude. I'm with you.
I think everybody that knows that you can just flip everything from Bitcoin to Litecoin real quick. And the smartest people in the room are buying Litecoin while everybody thinks that nothing's happening. And
bro, but when there's like 2 developers over there. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I want it to be successful. I thought it was going to be successful.
Didn't they just hook up futures to, or Coinbase is working on the futures for it right now? Well,
yeah, but that's a different thing. That's more.
Who is holding Litecoin at $69? Who is taking it to $420 and stopping it at its all-time highs? Whose meme coin network runs on Litecoin?
Oh, bro, all I know is this: my
got an army of friends that are going to love those futures.
Can the dev make the price go up because it's falling? And I don't like it. Every day I wake up, I check price bad.
It's all about
every day.
Technology. No, you need to choose freedom over price.
So here's some Litecoin ordinal stats. So I pulled up the top marketplace. There is 13 Litecoin ordinal buys in the last 24 hours. It looks like there's about 5 Litecoin in volume.
I'm just going to remind you guys, you're laughing at this now where it's 2024. I'm just reminding you how goofy this looks. You guys love Solana inscriptions or whatever they got going on Solana. You love their shit coins. it's going to be nothing compared to what Bitcoin does. You know that. Bitcoin's runes are going to rule. And, you know, when I mentioned the rug on Bitcoin, it's really the NSA's got, you know, they're not going to give you AES, okay, without knowing how to break it. So if they need to do something, if there is some kind of situation, you know, they're going to pull the plug. And the pull the plug, it means like crash the market quickly. I do not think that anybody is prepared for, you know, if the NSA gave it to you in 98, okay, how long ago was that? Does anybody want to do that math for me?
What's 98?
That's when the NSA released AES to the public.
It sounds like 2000 BC, bro. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, I think all these ecosystems are going to blow up. I think Dogenos is going to blow up. We're looking at Dogenos now, you know, $22 billion market cap compared to Litecoin, the next biggest proof of work chain at $6 billion. Each getting their infrastructure in.
It's a serious IQ test.
I mean, I just think that it's going to take time. Like Adam says. Go ahead.
Damien, you got to understand. I mean, look at what's going on, Damien. And
I know you guys love the price, but you got to.
No, dude. I'm not talking about Litecoin. I'm not talking about. I'm talking about the Ordinals ecosystem on Litecoin. Is so far behind right now. It's so far behind, dude. No. And it was the first, and then it's literally like the worst as far as the infrastructure goes. Tells you, Jake just told you. Look, there were fucking 13 sales yesterday. You know, 5 of those were fucking me, dude. But it's like, we're fucked. I mean, I want it to pump, but without the infrastructure, it gets back to why people are doing it on Solana.
It's not without the infrastructure. It's just when does somebody put money over there? That's it.
Yeah.
That's all it takes. It's all it's ever taken for any of these shit chains with nothing going on. You put money there, and then all of a sudden, it's just blood in the water. That's all you do.
I mean, I just don't know how people totally get excited about Litecoin. I don't get too excited about Litecoin. I don't know what the narrative is going to be. I don't know how memeable it is. I don't know. People want to follow fun. People want to follow kind of innovation. And I don't know. At this moment, I don't really see it happening. But I mean, obviously, the ecosystem has a ton of dormant capital. I think it will get built up. I just don't think it's at that stage yet. I think people are looking for the shiny new thing. I think that people are looking to have a bunch of fun. The meme kind of frenzy is in full effect. I think that's kind of like the Dogenos ecosystem.
And people will want real technology soon enough.
But anything that they could build on Litecoin, they can also build on Dogecoin or
you might want
Bitcoin.
to pay attention to what's going on in the rest of the world and like the world events and how that might play into your world of money, right? Like, I
agree with Damien, but you also might want to pay attention to the ecosystems where people are building. They're actually building on Dogecoin right now. They're actually building on Bitcoin right now. They're not really building on Litecoin at the moment. I think they will.
Looks like.
Wait a second. How does Dogecoin work right now?
How does Litecoin work right now is the question. Litecoin look like
it don't work.
It doesn't exactly. So I tried to get some Solana the other day. It took me 15 minutes to figure that system out. Radium was dropping on me and Jupiter. So that ecosystem's pretty funky.
There's no way it took you 15 minutes.
Well, it's because I'm stupid, but that's you know, some of us are smarter. You said it's a test.
It's funny that, I mean, you talk of just kind of in terms of, you know, scalability and usability. You use something like Solana, and at capacity, it might drop transactions. You don't lose any money. You might experience a little bit of frustration, but you can still push a transaction through after a couple of tries. And that's at peak network usage. Over 1.5 million users on chain daily, every day last week. That's never happened before on Ethereum. Ethereum's never had 1 million people transacting on chain in the same day. And you have a failed transaction on Ethereum. You pay $50, $75 for it, and then you have to retry again. So it's funny to hear the backlash on failed transactions on Solana compared to failed transactions on Ethereum when it's literally an order of magnitude difference.
How many failed transactions do you have on your bank when you're using your bank?
But I'm just saying, like,
federated.
If you have a dropped call, nobody really cares. You just call the person back. Like, if we experience this with technology all the time, it's not that big of a deal. Nobody really cares if you experience some network turbulence because you just redo the transaction like you do in your everyday life.
It's true.
See, back to the stupid part. Here we go. Me and my IQ. Yeah, when you do an ETH transaction and they take the gas fees out and you don't see anything in your wallet, that's when there's a problem. But that's when you know you might have done something wrong. But Damien, are you talking about Litecoin?
Well, that was where I was starting, just because I'm pretty excited about runes. I think runes are going to be huge, and I wanted to go back to Emblem Vault. I think was talking about, or somebody was talking about where things are going to go. I think they're going to go, like, where are they going to, NFTs in general are going to go wherever you can do financing, right? So are you going to be able to put your counterparty asset on a counterparty financing protocol and borrow against it? If not, guess what? They're leaving counterparty. They're going to put it wherever they can borrow against it. I think runes could be a major piece of this. Obviously you could do a USDT rune, or some kind of stable coin rune that somebody can trade against and borrow against. But
well, hold on. So how stable do you think USDT is?
I don't, but you need something that helps, right. People right now are trying to buy a house in money. And the money they use right now is always dollars, right? So they want to pay their rent, they want to buy food, they want to do whatever. You're talking to somebody who's lived in Bitcoin since 2010. Like, I've been all in and transacted and did the gift card thing and went door to door with my wallet company, who told you where you could buy things geographically. Like, I won hackathons for positioning systems with people working on systems. Like, I've done this whole thing. I've gone down every path for over a decade. And I'm telling you right now, people want dollars. They don't give a shit. They want Solana. Okay, they want dollars. The people are stupid. What do you want me to tell you?
Well, a lot of it seems like they don't. People are degens, and they like to see fake. It seems like monopoly money in their wallet, and if they can't live off it, you can't eat off it. They just I'm crypto rich. I'm crypto rich. Well, you're crypto rich, but you can't even pay your bills. So if
it boils down to consciousness. Okay, we talk only in terms of crypto, but the consciousness controls the guy who's making the decisions about the crypto. And most people are like happy hour to happy hour, get their 9 to 5 done. Get some fun time in on the weekend, go do it again. They don't got time to figure anything out. They've been using these systems shit's going up in price constantly. They're stuck on the wheel, man. Like, I get it, but at a certain point, there's some kind of major event that wakes everybody up, like COVID, and there will be more. And those are the people that are already awake, they're stuck in the prepared on the wheel, through and worked with these other technology. But the real at a certain point, there's some kind of major event that wakes everybody up, like COVID, and there will be more. That's the opportunity on the table right now, right? People that are already awake. If this was COVID again, like we had supply chain issues, nobody could get food, and nobody could get energy in times of extreme. It'd be a different conversation, but because we had a little bit of good times, this opportunity is on the table right now, right? Degeneracy immediately. Was COVID, nobody cares about again, we had supply chain issues, and nobody could get food, and nobody could get everywhere trying to kill you and take your money. It'd be a different conversation, but because we had a little bit of good times, it turns into complete degeneracy immediately, and nobody cares about actually surviving on this.
Let me think. What was my question?
So are you saying that Litecoin is a prepper coin? Is Litecoin the prepper coin?
It's just that it's much more. It's a really great play.
You had to leave it there and then close the mic.
You need money to live, right?
What was my question?
This play is an amazing play right now. Plus, you get good technology. It's not just a prepper coin. It's going to go back to its all-time high. It's a really great play. You got to guarantee 4x. You need a pretty major market cap coin that has huge transactions. Is an amazing play, and the ability to be on every single exchange, and it's on the fucking mainstream media every day. It just got the future. The richest man in the world, Elon Musk, meme coin runs on the thing that mines that has huge transactions. You have to have Litecoin to be on every single exchange. And it's on the fucking mainstream media. Elon understands infrastructure. He buys infrastructure. The richest man in the world, Elon Musk, that the lithium is in. He buys the thing that mines the people to build the factory to build the thing, build the factory. Like, let's don't have your own.
To be fair, Dogecoin got approved for those same futures as Litecoin in the same.
He buys the ground that the lithium is in. He buys. I bet you the plan is people to build the factory to build the thing, and pump the other two, and then probably get a little bit of the B cash.
To be fair, Dogecoin got approved for those
right,
same
financial
futures
advice,
as
but anyway,
Litecoin in the same.
Back on with the conversation. So my question to you is,
and I bet you the plan is to probably short B cash
is going
pump the other two, and then probably get a little bit of the B cash
say 4 to 8 months. You could be right, not financial advice, but anyway. Back on with the conversation. So my question to you is, to where that you think the halvening Bitcoin goes up is going to like that? Affect the next say 4 to 8 months.
Maybe they have enough instruments in place to just
with
manage
BTC,
it,
I'm
stable
saying, or
and
to where that goes down, Bitcoin goes up
on
like
to do
like
the
that.
gambling on the other networks and find the next
Bitcoin
thing.
can just
there's
stay
AI
stable,
plays to be had. They have enough
NFT
instruments
plays to be
in
had.
place.
They know that.
There's to just manage
There's
it,
other
keep
things
it
we're not even
stable
thinking of
and
to be had.
Siphon off whatever.
So
is
there's
going on
gambling
to do the gambling on the other networks.
The money's already,
the money's been printed and it's out there. Like, it's up to us to go get it.
They know that
It's already out there. There's other things we're not even thinking of.
They're just waiting to put it where
it hasn't come out yet.
Who's
So
they?
there's going to be
Bankers,
gambling,
right?
Like
Constantly, and
institutions
it's
that
like,
want to make money on their money. The money's been printed and it's out there. Like, it's only care about profit. It's already out there. That they're the ones that have the money. So
they're just waiting to put it.
I get it why everybody's chasing money, but
right?
you really
Like,
should institutions that want to make money on their money. You may just find yourself entities that only care about profit.
Nice.
They're the ones that have the money.
I'm liking it.
I get it
So
why
what network do you
everybody's
think,
just
this is
chasing
my
money,
last,
but
and
you
then
really
I'll
should
shut my mic.
chase freedom at the same time.
What
or
network
else
do you think, say you're
you may
building
just find yourself, following the cheese into a
an
trap.
app that's very I like it. Some next level app stuff. What do you think? So what network is? Ethereum has the gas fees, right? Do you think Litecoin? What network do you think? Say you're building. Do you think Litecoin has the network, an app house that's very
there's a light client.
some next level
in
app
fact,
stuff. What do you
I
think the
just
best
posted-
network
I'll
is?
post- I'll
Ethereum
repost
has
it
the
in
gas
here, too.
fees, right? Do you think
There's an
Litecoin?
interview with
Let's make it more
Loshan
specific to
Dev, and
Litecoin. Do you
there's a
think
light
Litecoin
client
has
with
the network
Wimble
that
implemented
could
now.
house?
There's a light client to a node. You can run your own node. I just posted. You trust somebody else's node, but the bottom line is now you can implement these libraries and have Wimble real quick. There's a light client with Wimble implemented now. Stack. You tie your light client to a node. Change the game right there. It's been a pain in the ass. Everybody knows somebody else's node, but the bottom line is, and now you can implement these libraries and have Wimble, and that's why it hasn't even been paid attention to in any. It's just over everybody's head. But it's just CoinJoin in the protocol. That's going to change the game right there. It's been a pain in the ass. Everybody knows Wimble. It should be standard on Bitcoin, and very few people on the planet understood it. And that's why it hasn't even been paid attention.
Because the crew I was
over
in a hip hop game, we did a join coin.
CoinJoin in the protocol.
Don't buy it.
Which is amazing. It should be standard on Bitcoin, and probably will be.
I have a rough idea. You said CoinJoin? I'm gonna look. The crew I was in a hip hop game, we did a join coin before hip hop game. That's funny. Don't buy it.
Monetary units are like uniform, and then they can be. You understand what CoinJoin is?
I have a rough idea.
It's authorized. Everybody, everybody's. I believe everybody's like just zigzagging. And monetary units are like nobody knows whose coins are what, but they know how much and how much they put in and how much they can get out. Zero knowledge. They peg in and they peg out. Authorized to be kind of
the liquidity
passed
pool
along to each
or
other
the
in a match.
Yes,
zigzagging and.
Nobody
knows whose coins are what, but they know how much.
You can just learn to track. You can just have a track wallet tracker, right?
They peg in and they peg out.
In the
I believe the
liquidity
only
pool
way to track Wimble is to run a bunch of nodes and do some dandelion.
You could just learn to track. You can just have a track wallet tracker,
It's been years since I researched this stuff. I believe the only way to track Wimble, I can tell you it's worth your time. I can tell you that it's coming. I can tell you there's an ETF coming. I can tell you that the futures are here. The future is now, actually. It's been years since I researched this stuff. I did want to ask, how do I get a curated Emblem worth your time? I can tell you that it's coming. I can tell you there's an ETF coming. I can tell you that if I had Inscription future is now. What do I do? What's the process to apply for? I did want to ask, how do I get a curated Emblem vault going? On any protocol. About this. If I had Inscription,
yeah, I mean, you could just hit me up.
What do I
and
do?
We can discuss it. We'll be
for
rolling out individual
you know,
collections,
a curated collection
for users once
on
Emblem Markets is live.
on any
so
protocol.
give it about a month or so, and then we can.
Yeah, I mean, you could just hit
discuss
me
this.
up and we can discuss it. We'll be
But just hit me up and give me
rolling
all
out
the details.
individual
We need a
collections,
JSON file
for
with
users once
if it's an
Emblem
inscription
Markets is
collection, we'll
live.
need a
So
JSON
give it,
file that follows.
give it
the
about a
current
month or
format
so,
that
and then we can
OpenSea
discuss this.
provides for ERC 721. And so
But
provide
just
us
hit me
that
up
with
and
all
give
of
me
the
all the
collection
details. We
and,
need a JSON file
description, icon, banner,
if it's an inscription
and
collection, we'll
any
need a
additional
JSON file
information, and
that
we can
follows
discuss it.
Do you guys have a repo that we just cloned then?
OpenSea provides for ERC
No,
721.
not at this time.
And
you're,
so
you're
provide us
about
that
a month
with all of
ahead
the
of
collection
where
details
we're going.
description,
if you want
icon,
to start that
banner,
discussion
and
now,
any
that is
additional
currently what we
information
need.
Do you guys have
you
a
could look
repo
at
that we
you could
just
look
cloned
at the
then?
repo we have.
No, not at
you
this
go to
time.
docs.emblem.wiki.
You're about a month ahead of
there
where
is
we're
our
going.
GitHub on there. There's multiple
But
things. There's
if
a
you want
SDK,
to start that
there's a
discussion
repo.
now, that is currently what we need.
Look through that.
You could look at
just push it
the
there.
repo.
But
we
again, just
have,
shoot me a DM and give me the details.
You go to docs.emblem.wiki.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
There is our GitHub on there. There's multiple
Yeah, we
things.
did just launch that Dark Farms curated collection this past week on the back of Book of Meme. So that was the first of its type. Really, really cool innovation. That's something similar to what Damien's speaking of.
Wow.
So a lot of cool stuff in the product line. The rest of this year should be really cool from the Emblem side. Also, before we do wrap and begin to wrap, I know Jake had something, and then I do want to talk to Doogies and J5 as well, and maybe Jimmy a little bit more. People kind of recommended them specifically, saying that they know a lot about Dogenals in general. So feel free to take the stage. Jake, after you.
I don't really have that much, honestly. I'm kind of wrapping up here. I was working on today, I guess, just from an Emblem update. This is why I've been late and not missing some of the shows, because I've been just working really hard on the development side of things. Our new front end I got to test today. It's about 98% done. I was able to vault and unvault successfully through that. So more information on that will be coming during the town hall. Emblem Markets, Bunzy's been working night and day on this thing. It's probably about 90% done. We have a lot of the APIs. Swapna's been building, and Bunzy's been doing the front end. It looks pretty clean so far. And in terms of Emblem Legacy, which is kind of the ongoing kind of issue that's been going on now for 9 months or so. Shannon is fully dedicated to this, right? We want you to be able to bring all of your counterparty assets, Doge Party assets, migrate, and have all these collections live. It's been a forever ongoing issue of scaling and things like this. We also did just, not hire. We just contracted a third developer for the Emblem team to help us build out more products. One of our goals over the next, I would say 3-4 months, is deploying Emblem on Bitcoin, deploying Emblem on Solana, and all of the Ethereum L2s. So that is a goal. And then, as we mentioned before, new tokenomics are coming some point in the next announcement will come next point in this next few months. That information will be released on a town hall. So if you want to know that information, you'll need to pay attention to the town halls coming forward. That is where we're going to release all of our new and upcoming information. We've just decided it's the fairest way to do it, because a lot of different things when it comes to tokenomic releases has price impacts, and we want to eliminate any type of front running. So you're just going to have to pay attention to that every time we have a town hall.
Okay, every time you have a town hall, so I assume that's on Spaces, or is that a Discord thing you do? Is that a little more back end? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, so we do it once a month. We do it just as we do this show. So it's usually the either first Thursday or last Thursday of the month. We do have the whole team is going to be at NFT NYC. So we might push it until the Thursday after NFT NYC, because we're all going to be down there kind of meeting and discussing and everything like that. But yeah, we do live stream in Spaces, and we announce it. So just make sure you follow the Emblem account, which is the one that's hosting it, and you'll be able to stay up to date. And then back to you, Chris.
Yeah, man. A ton of exciting things going on in the Emblem ecosystem. Super, super excited about the rest of the year. Doogies, J5, when you guys have anything to add, you want to take the stage for a moment? give us an update.
Yeah, hey, what's up, fam? Yeah, Doogie's here. We are coming to Doganals. We're doing our Doganals, but we had the memes up here speaking earlier. He's our main wizard and dev. I know y'all have worked with him on the back end. And as we're learning, there's still a lot of infrastructure to be built. He's getting excited. His tails are wagging too, as well as the Doogie. So it's just cool to reconnect with some historical fam. Of course, somebody calls me right as I'm starting to talk. Yeah, so we're an early 10K historical fam, just like a lot of you guys, and the archaeologists and just kind of historical community still very active, and we're eyeing Doge, so we're excited. And yeah, thanks for having us up. And the memes, if he wants to say anything too, I like it when he gets excited, and the parallels with Bitcoin ordinals. I think Duganals, very good play. And yeah, we're still into now the memes if you want to chat. But thanks for having us up.
The Duganals.
The tails are wagging. J5, anything to add over there?
Morning, guys, everyone. Thanks for having me up. I really appreciate it. No, I think you guys covered a lot, actually. I was enjoying the shit out of this complete conversation. I mean, mind blown. Jake, you just went into so many topics. You guys covered a lot as well. As like, there's definitely some people that have been stuck with the Dogecoin.js minting, right? So obviously, because the dogechain.info APIs are still indexing, so but there are obviously people have been rewriting that as well. So sort of what I've been doing too, just pointing it to OK Link. This way, I can start actually continuing that. But I mean, I'm fucking bullish on everything you guys are saying. Like, it's absolutely awesome. Like obviously the infrastructure is being built. It's been built. In the process over this bear market, it's just as some of you guys were mentioning, no one's been paying attention, right? But god damn, like just actually what you just shared, Jake, on the docs, I was just going through that. I was like, holy shit, like I hadn't even seen this. So I really appreciate that share. But the thing that I think I really appreciate as well, what you guys brought up was Leica, because I had been looking at just some of the L2s coming out, and obviously the Dogechain Foundation is talking about side chains as well, adding that on. So this is not going to stop. This is actually going to be the narrative and to move forward. So fuck, we're so early, man. It's so crazy how you guys are bringing this up. It's like, damn, you're a month ahead, and like I think people are sleeping on this. So again, I really appreciate the invite, and yeah, I'm gonna just keep an eye out, and what you guys are pushing or what you guys are talking about, I'll be there and definitely just chime in, because this is really good stuff, guys.
I really, really appreciate that. I'm glad that you're bullish on Leica, same as me, man. It seems like a carbon copy, not carbon copy, but Doge's version of Merlin Chain, which Merlin Chain is kind of like Bitcoin's version of Blast. And people love gamification and degenning, so, and memes, right? You get all of that on Dogecoin. What's that, Patches? You want to close us out here?
Yeah. Thanks for having me up. I saw the Inscription Show and I just got out of a meeting. We have ordinals, we have doginals, we have velinals, and then, as you know, I'm working on hashinals. And today, I run the HCraft Punks project on Hedera, and we've been around. We were in the first large NFT collection. We created the first open source minting tools, and I've just been doing a lot of stuff on chain. And then today we are launching inscription number 3 to 202 because me and a standards protocol called Hashgraph Online have started to create a DAO-centric inscription tooling service on Hedera that uses our tokenization service to tokenize inscriptions. So you inscribe the data and the metadata onto the Hashgraph, and then you use the token service for ownership delegation that comes with consensus, that comes with 2 to 5 second finality. The gas fees are pegged to USD. It's about 1/100th of a penny to send an NFT. Royalties are enforced because it's a token protocol. So you can have metadata tied to the inscription. You can have royalties that are enforced. And today at 7 p.m. Eastern, we have a whitelist only mint for our punks to mint inscription 3 to 202, which I'm really excited about getting these in the open. And the way that we launched Hashinals is that we actually took a month and got 7 really great developer teams on our network. And we have a marketplace that actively has Hashinal support, so SentX. We have a CDN, so you can easily show images on Hashinals through Tierbot. we have a web tool that you can just go to tier.bot/inscribe, where it's really easy to connect your wallet and inscribe pretty much anything you want with metadata. And we have a explorer, hashnoles.com, which I run, where you can see all of the indexed hashnoles and explore it. And we're going to continually build stuff out. But we took the approach of taking a bunch of developers, creating the ecosystem from soup to nuts with 7 great teams. There's a DAO, and we have an open standards protocol, so anyone can fork the open standards, and anyone can propose new standards for hashnoles. And then there's a DAO that would vote on putting that into production. And then that's just the first step. The second step, as you know, Jake, I talked to your ear off at Ord Denver, is to start doing cross-chain recursion with hashnoles. So you can have data on Bellinals, and you can transact using a hashnole by getting all the benefits of this tokenization, or ordinals, or all of these other ideas. So, you know, the main benefit is that there's no MEV, there's no sniping because it's a hash graph. And so all of the events are fair ordered. So you kind of remove a lot of the problems that the L2s, even though they bring a lot of benefits for Bitcoin and others, they still have some other issues. And my ideology is that a hash graph can become the user experience layer of Web3, where your data is always on chain, on your mother chain, where you still have that interaction, but then you start using hash graph as this sort of glue to bring this user experience and enforced royalties and enforced metadata that will bring a higher ability to take a normie, and they can interact with it, and they see that the transaction's done in 3 seconds and everything, but the data is always on chain on Bitcoin as well. So you get the benefit of a good user experience, and you get the benefit of always on chain. And you can always roll up the token ID, which has provenance of everything that's ever happened on that token ID. And we're working right now on bridging. And I know, Jake, I'm going to reach out to you because now we have all of it propped up. We have the basics working. You can, again, buy and sell hashnoles right now. You can see them in your wallet. Hashpack Wallet has support. So really excited. It's been a lot of work, but that's my pitch.
Bro, are you giving away any whitelists today, man? Can we get some whitelists going around here, bro?
So unfortunately, whitelist is closed, but it is a 1-to-1.
Bro, you can't come in here with that alpha and then not have any whitelists to give away, bro.
I'm just the tech guy. My community manager and COO, Renly, and she does all the art. She gave away all the whitelists in a good way for our holders and for new people. And then it's 72-hour claim period. So after the 72 hours, it's a 1-to-1 non-over-allocated whitelist. So if you have a whitelist, you can mint. And after the 72 hours, we'll find ways to give away the more whitelist spots. But so they'll be secondary immediately on CentX if you have a Hashpack wallet and some HBAR.
Okay, I've been, looking into Hedera, had a lot of mutuals mint through you guys and actually do pretty well, mint out. So I'd be interested in it, but I would just, do you have anything on your profile with more information for, checking it out, contract address, anything like that, so we can look at it further?
Yeah, so on Hedera, there is smart contracts and it is EVM compatible, but there's a thing called the token service. And the token service is a protocol that's executed by the network. And that's where there's no contract to look at because it's impossible to be malicious, right? Because, yeah. Okay.
So that's what had me reluctant with Hedera. I'm like, is this a dev team that's just taking the true meaning of degen? But now I'm kind of getting, you guys are obviously doing well. So yeah, I'll check it out. I'll check into it. Appreciate that.
For sure. And hashnoles.com is a good place to explore. And then my timeline is just a bunch of hashnoles posts. So you can always go and follow me. And I talk about hashnoles a lot because I'm kind of helping build. I did the first inscriptions, all that, and working with a great. I think the biggest benefit add of hashnoles is that we have 7 teams of developers that care about standardization and governance at the beginning and consensus. And that's kind of our angle, is that you can have all of these benefits of everything on chain, and you can use Hashgraph and Hedera as the user experience layer for everything on chain. And that's kind of our pitch.
Yeah, Patches, man. That conversation we had at Ord Denver for like an hour, maybe even longer. It's really exciting, and I do need to start folding in hashnoles, or we need to start folding in hashnoles into the Inscription Show. So we do this generally on Thursdays at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. So make sure that you come by and give us all the information. It is actually quite exciting, and to be honest, the idea of a hash graph, I wasn't actually too familiar with. I heard the name, but I hadn't really dug into it until, of course, your participation in the Ordinal ecosystem, but then leveraging that for Hashinals and building this kind of like cross-chain functionality. So really, really exciting, to say the least, and be sure that you show up for all the Inscription shows. But again, everybody appreciate the conversation, the back and forth. We do cover a lot of topics, generally just trying to cover all of the, kind of like mainstream conversations, debates, and ideas, and trends within all the different inscription, stamp, counterparty, kind of like UTXO based ecosystems and just cross-chain solutions in general. So if you guys don't know, we host this show Tuesday through Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. Make sure you follow myself, Adam, and Chris, who's hosting the Emblem account and on stage. We work at Emblem Vault, the leading cross-chain NFT protocol in the industry with about $100 million in TVV. That's Total Value Vaulted, which is a play on Total Value Locked. We'll be back here next Tuesday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. Make sure that you guys follow it or on stage, and feel free to join us at any time. We will see you next Tuesday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. Until then, guys, enjoy your weekend.